Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. Today for you guys, this is another movie review. That's right, we're tackling, we're tackling, we're doing all the things. We're talking about the Looney Tunes movie, the brand new one that released in theaters a little recently, and it's called The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie or whatever. And yeah, look, it's good. I didn't expect it to be this good. But yeah, you know, because look, my, I guess, interest level in Looney Tunes has always been a little bit different, I guess. You know, like I watched it as a kid, I watched it as a teen, I watch it now as an adult. But, you know, Looney Tunes is kind of like, you know, you have the Disney characters, you have the Warner Brothers characters, right? The Warner Brothers characters are pretty much all Looney Tunes. You get Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Bugs Bunny, Petunia, whatever, you know, Wile E. Coyote, Roadrunner, whoever, right? And really, I think the best Looney Tunes thing to ever exist is the Looney Tunes show from 2011 on Cartoon Network. That show is effing hilarious. It's funny. It is genuinely one of the funniest shows I've ever seen in my entire life. It is seriously hilarious. And, you know, I've seen Space Jam 1, not a big fan. Space Jam New Legacy I actually enjoyed. I know, kill me. But, you know, I've seen Looney Tunes stuff before, but this was apparently this was the first, you know, real 2D Looney Tunes film in theaters. And, you know, seeing that, and then, you know, seeing the marketing for all that, and kind of looking at it and going, oh, this looks interesting, and then seemingly the whole world forgot about it, because apparently it's doing good with critics, and it's making, you know, decent money. I don't think this is going to be like some smash hit or nothing, but, you know, it is making a okay amount from what I've seen. And, you know, going into that, I'm like, oh, you know, what could go wrong, right? It's Looney Tunes. How fun can it be? And how bad could it be? And, yeah, it is different, though. I'll tell you what. Because, you know, I'm used to the Looney Tunes show, right, where you have, you know, Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny. It's kind of like a sitcom kind of thing where they're in their house and they go on adventures and stuff. But a lot of it is just kind of adventures in the house, or, you know, local things. This is they're in space and they're going to different planets and all that, and you kind of really feel that throughout this film where, you know, you're not even seeing Bugs Bunny. He's not even mentioned or seen at all. Like, it's really Daffy Duck and Porky Pig. And the weirdest thing about it is that while the animation looks amazing, we'll get to that in a minute, the actual voice acting for this film is very unique. Because you have Daffy Duck, who's voiced by the guy who, you know, voices Daffy in the Looney Tunes show. And then you've also got Porky Pig, but he's also voiced by the guy that voices Daffy. And he's never done Porky, as far as I'm aware. He did Daffy and Bugs. And whenever Porky Pig talks in this movie, all I hear is Bugs frickin' Bunny from the Looney Tunes show. Like, you can literally see, you know, my thing with voice acting, I'm not saying I'm the best voice actor ever, but when I do my John Wick, you don't hear my Kermit. You know what I mean? You don't hear these little resemblances and these little fadeaways of a voice to another voice. I'm not saying he's bad. He's very good in the film, but there are times where, you know, myself, I don't know if my mom and dad or whoever in the audience cared or noticed, but I did, where it was like, oh, I hear, you know, every time Porky talks, I hear Bugs Bunny type thing. You know, and he's fine. He's doing the stuttering and whatever. It's good enough. You know, it's not like a bad Porky Pig voice. It's good, but it's just, you know, I did feel like, oh, that's just Bugs. You know, they could have gotten the guy who actually voiced Porky in the Looney Tunes show. Like, I don't understand why they didn't do that. Maybe, I don't know, but whatever. The animation, though, is effing clean, bro. It looks really, really good. It's been a long time since we've seen 2D animation. I think, actually, the last time we saw real 2D animation in a theatrically released film was Space Jam 2. So, I guess Looney Tunes is still doing it, right? I think, like, the last true Disney 2D film was, I believe, Princess and the Frog, and that was, like, what, 2012, 2011? No, 2009 maybe? I don't even have to know. It was a long time ago. And, you know, obviously we've gotten more 3D films and whatever, and obviously that is the king of animation right now. But, you know, 2D does look good, right? Obviously we've seen Spider-Verse, TMNT, or those aren't even 2D. I don't even know anymore. I'm getting them confused. But yeah, no, like, it looks good. You know what I mean? Like, it really does. Like, Daffy and Porky, part of the charm and the allure of Looney Tunes isn't just the comedy from what they say, it's the comedy of what they do, right? Like, 99% of the comedy from the 4 Lego movies, for example, are from shit that happens in the background you have to see on the 5th replay. You know what I mean? A lot of it is, yeah, what they say is funny, but also how they move is funny, what's going on in the background or the foreground or the whatever, you know? So same thing here. With the Looney Tunes, you really kind of feel that, oh, okay, yeah, what they're saying is funny, but the way that the shots are made, the way that the editing goes, it's genuinely funny. Like, there's a really funny moment where Porky sees Petunia Pig in like a bar or a cafe or whatever, right? And to Porky, she's like this beautiful looking pig and her hair's waving and it's all beautiful. And then in reality, she's like, you know, covered in water because she's walking in the rain and she looks like death. And then Porky sees her, like, sit down on a bar stool, and she kind of flips, like, does like a 360 all beautifully. In reality, she's like on her stomach, going around in circles in, like, gringy, dirty area. It's freaking hilarious, man. There's some genuinely funny jokes I was laughing out loud like crazy at. And I didn't expect that. I expected, to be like, huh, that's funny, and then move on. But no, some of these jokes are very, very funny. And again, there's a lot of adult humor as well. This is not a kid's film. I wouldn't recommend taking a baby to it. Your newborn fetus, for example, probably shouldn't be watching this. Again, it's probably appropriate for the older kids and teens and adults. But there's some pretty risky jokes in there. I was like, oh, that's ooh, oh boy. And again, that's the style of Looney Tunes, right? Ever since Looney Tunes originally came out, they've been swearing. They've been committing suicide. There's been drugs and alcohol. And, there's some crazy stuff that you couldn't do nowadays in modern animation that they got away with in the 20s, 30s, whatever the F, because, if it's a different time period. But at the same time, it's funny that some of those jokes kind of carried over into this. And even the stuff that isn't mature or adult is still funny. There's no, like, stupid jokes that only a 1-year-old will laugh at. It's an all-ages funny movie. And I think this is really cool. Obviously, with the title of The Day the Earth Blew Up, what's going to happen, right? No spoilers, of course, but there's like a whole alien invasion plot with gum, and it, a lot of the stuff really kind of hits the fan, so to speak, and a lot of crazy stuff goes on. And you expected, okay, Daffy and Porky are trying to kind of fix the roof of their house, right? And that kind of leads to aliens. And then they go off planet, and then they meet some scientist guy who keeps saying chew because he's infected, and random stuff like that happens. And yeah, this is not a typical Looney Tunes film, right? You don't have the entire cast. You don't have Bugs Bunny. You don't have a lot of the tentpole characters that you'd expect in the Looney Tunes franchise. It really is just Daffy, Porky, Petunia. And there's some really great action scenes. There's actually like a really freaky horror moment. I'm not even effing kidding. It's like the raptors from Jurassic Park 1 where they're in the kitchen or whatever. It's actually pretty intense, and the movie theater is like really effing loud. So it's like, when the alien gets crazy, like literally, I swear to God, there was an adult, I'm not making this up, there was an adult woman next to me. She had her, like, pajamas on. She had her, which I don't recommend doing that, but whatever. She had her effing, like blanket on. Like, she was all cozy and comfy, right? She was having a great time. And we were laughing, we're having a great time. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her. I wasn't, like, staring at her. And I just see at the corner of my eye when this alien thing, attacks the characters, right? Kind of lunges toward the screen. I swear to God, she went, oh my God! She went like that. She freaked out. And I don't know if she's like a lightweight in terms of horror, or if she, but it was like I jumped a little bit. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, this movie has some really crazy shots, really good animation, very expressive animation. The writing is really good. I think the plot is strong enough. It's not the most endearing Looney Tunes thing where, again, you don't have the entire cast, right? This is literally like 3 main characters against some aliens, right? And it's good, and it works, and it's entertaining, and it's actually really freaking well made for what they were trying to do. The budget for this isn't that high, and the fact that they can make it look that good and actually, be a solid story as well is actually really, really great. And you get all these funny elements again. You get crazy good action scenes, a lot of good music in there that kind of fits the action. There is a plot, and there is like a, I guess like a rise and a fall, so to speak. They have films, so it's like the rising or the falling and the climax or whatever the F they call that, in film school. They kind of have that where, yeah, like it's not just funny jokes and action, right? Like Daffy Duck and Porky Pig and even Petunia, they each have their own motives and things that they're trying to achieve, and that kind of gets, kind of thrown to the wayside, and characters have these little, I wouldn't say massive character arcs, nothing like Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi arc, but it is a, decent enough arc that each character goes through, so by the end of the film you're really like, oh wow, that was actually really great. These characters grew, and they did certain things, and they were, kind of doing a bunch of different funny things that you really wouldn't expect to see in this kind of a film. Again, I didn't know what to expect. I only saw one trailer for this film, and trust me, the trailer isn't that great. So, going into the movie, I was like, this could go either way, right? This could be great, or it could be horrible. And frankly, I had a good time with it. Again, I'm not the biggest Looney Tunes guy in the world. I've only seen Space Jam 1 and 2. A few, odd Looney Tunes shorts on VHS or DVD as a kid and whatnot. I think I went to Blossom when I was a kid, and I saw some Looney Tunes shorts with my aunt and uncle or whatever. But as far as, the massive appeal of Looney Tunes for me, it is the Looney Tunes show. And that, I don't think, can be beaten. This has nothing on that show, but it is a very good movie. If you like Looney Tunes, if you like comedies, if you like to have a good time with some, pretty good action, some good plot, and like I said, some really funny jokes, I would definitely recommend seeing this. I know this is a bit late. I've been very busy with school, but I wanted to get this video out there. And again, I don't know if it's in theaters. It's probably leaving, but I am going to get this on Blu-ray. I'm assuming I'll get the code for it, or, whenever this releases on Blu-ray. I know Captain America Brave New World releases on May 13th, I believe, so that's that'll be another one I get. But I'm excited to get this one on Blu-ray, man. I had a really good time with it. I expected it to be good, or just, good enough. But I walked out and I was like, yeah, this was really funny. Like, there's some genuinely funny jokes. The farmer, I don't know if it's Farmer Bill, I forgot, Farmer Joe, or some kind of farmer. I'm not going to ruin what happens, but he's effing hilarious. Again, the animation style really, really lends itself to this style of comedy with, you're laughing at funny stuff they say, but you're also laughing at funny stuff they do, and I think that's actually really cool. So, again, I'm excited to see if they ever do make more Looney Tunes films in theaters, 2D, 3D, whatever. I know no one likes Space Jam 2. I did. I thought it was good, but I'm an idiot, so what do you expect? But no, I am genuinely excited to see what they do with this franchise, and hopefully we'll get more Looney Tunes show or whatever. I don't know. I know they made like one called Wabbit or something like that. It was garbage. But yeah, anyway, like I said, for me, this franchise has its fair share of up and downs, but this is definitely on the upside. Tell me down below in the comments what you think about The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes film, movie, whatever it was called. But yeah, definitely an interesting title, and it was unique to have like almost like a 1950s B-movie-esque alien horror vibe to it. I think that was kind of unique and suited the film really well. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.